3, 4. And how's it going, everybody? You know who it is. My name is Sun Woo, and we are live once again. Yes, it's been a little minute, I believe. Life's been hectic. Life's been busy. New stuff is on the horizon. I may talk about that later. But first off, the big topic, of course, SUPERBOOTH has wrapped up. I'm sure you've been beaten to death in your feeds about SUPERBOOTH. I didn't even know if I wanted to cover anything of it. But because I haven't been live in a while, I thought, why not make a live stream and just have a little quick overview, recap of what's been released. And yeah, just see what's going on. Trey Rue in the house. Hey, man, nice to see you here. I'm very happy to see you. Everybody, if you're watching this, check out Trey Rue, very talented musician, and I'm hoping to collab with him soon. Yeah, I'd love to send you an OPXY, but sadly this is my only one, man. Yeah, so SUPERBOOTH, new gear all over the place, and to be honest, I think I talked about this before, but I had a little bit of a gear overload lately, so yeah, so I was not too excited actually about SUPERBOOTH coming up, and even after SUPERBOOTH, I wasn't too excited. I think it was good. There was enough good gear, but in general, we do have everything we need already, don't we? So, yeah, that's my overall feeling. There were some interesting things for sure, but nothing that really blew me away or that's so groundbreaking, I believe, that it's a must-have. But that being said, I didn't go there in person. I only watched the coverage, and I'm sure I don't remember everything that was there. So with that being said, I want to have a quick look online and see what they put out and what you got to say about it. And yes. Oh, Trey, you're going to SUPERBOOTH. I mean, it's a great event. If you can go there, I do recommend checking it out once at least. Yeah, very friendly people, super nice atmosphere, and yeah, great feeling overall. If you've never been to Germany or Berlin specifically, it's worth seeing for sure. If you like to party, you can always party in Berlin, that is for sure as well. Yeah, let's have a quick look at what's going on regarding SUPERBOOTH news. We're going to switch over the view here, and I hope you can see, not this, but this, my browser. And I'm just going to scroll down and see what's good and what's not. So we've got some plugins, which in general I'm not so plugin focused, so it's not as interesting to me. The Clank uranograph is definitely a niche instrument, but it's interesting. I always like it when people put out something that is pretty weird. It's got these touch plates here for one hand and for the other, and lots of knobs and encoders. To be honest, I don't know exactly what it does, but it's a synthesizer with a funny control scheme. I think it's interesting. What was interesting to me, although I just said that I don't care too much about plugins, is that Electron is working on overbridge support for iPads. Sadly, this seems to be only for the newest iPads, the ones that work on an M1 processor, which I don't have. But if they get this to work properly, I think this could make for a great small setup, one overbridge device with an iPad, because you can stream all your channels off the Digitact or Digitone separately into the iPad and then use whatever effects you need on the iPad, and effects and plugins on the iPad are cheaper. And yes, it's very portable. So I think that's a very interesting thing that I didn't think would happen. Of course, we all were looking forward to the Tonwerk, but sadly that didn't happen. Yeah, so good news from Electron. The IntelliGel Jelly-Mix, it looks like a good product, but I'm not gonna get too excited about a desktop mixer. 4-channel Eurorack looper, I didn't see any videos on that, but loopers are always fun. Oh, this one was pretty interesting, the Morphon Acon 6. Polyphonic analog synthesizer where the oscillators are actually not standard oscillators, but instead they are bucket brigade delays. So you're gonna have delays with, I guess, very short delay times, and do some K+strong action on those and excite those delays. So that is a different approach to synthesis, and yeah, I always commend companies trying out new things and new ways of making instruments rather than the same synthesizer over and over. But I want to ask you folks out there, did you see anything in SUPERBOOTH that I got to check out that you found very interesting? By the way, hello Neil too. Nice to see you here. Yeah, did you see anything? Let me know in the chat and I'll probably see it in a second. Hey Jasmine, nice to see you here too. Stem export on OPXY June 10th. I haven't heard anything about that. But where did you hear that information? That sounds very interesting. If the OPXY gets stem export, I think that would be more than interesting. Trey Rue says the Black Field kit. Yeah, I don't know what I think about it. I mean, it's just a different colorway. I think I like the original color better, the silver. Looks a little more old school, but it depends on preference. Albanian Syndicate, hello, hello. Glad you're all here once again. All right, let's have another look. So PWM Mantis got an update. Updates are always good too. Polyvox filter and touch controller. I didn't see much about that, so I cannot speak on it. Oh yeah, the Vermona drum ding was much discussed on Electronauts. So basically, as I understand it, maybe I should stop scrolling. As I understand it, this Vermona drum ding here has one analog synthesizer module on top and a sampler / sequencer underneath. So what you do is you create a drum sound using the analog circuits here, which is knob per function, and then you select one of your tracks or sound slots here. You've got 6 sound slots, and you sample that sound in and sequence it. So it's a drum synthesizer with a sampler, but the concept is you make the sound, you quickly sample it, and then use it in a drum beat. It's an interesting concept. I could see how this could work well for some people, just to not get hung up on tweaking the knobs over and over and just making little changes but not getting music done. That being said, of course, you could recreate this with any other drum synthesizer plus a sampler combo. So if you have a Digitact, Octatrack, OPXY, any other sampler sequencer, you could use that, hook a drum machine up to it, and sample your drum synthesis sounds as well. So it seems to be a little more of a niche product. That being said, I like the sounds of Vermona often, and I think they create good instruments. And also something I think that I heard that was said was that the synthesizer part, the synthesizer module up here, is interchangeable. So I would assume that they make different styles. Maybe they make a digital module as well that you can slot in there. Yeah, that would be pretty interesting to see what it's going to be going forward. What do you think of the drum ding? Is that something you would be interested in using or buying? Because I believe it's not going to be cheap, probably. All right. Yeah, make noise polymaths. Looks interesting. Of course, it seems to be quite far away from the original maths. It has the name, it is a function generator, but in general, it's a lot more complex and therefore, yeah, a bit further away from what the normal maths is doing. 8-channel function generator. Yeah, there we got the blacked out field system. Tip-top audio, modular. I'm probably going to skip a lot of modular. We got new colors. We got more new colors. Yeah, the launch control XL3 is officially here. Some trolls leaked that early, didn't they? Very naughty of them. Yeah, it's a good controller. As I said in my previous leak video, I'll probably get that as it would make a good companion to the OPXY or the Octatrack. You got faders for all your channels and some knobs. Yeah, there's not much more to say about it. It's, I believe, a pretty simple MIDI controller, but does what it needs to do. Yeah, so for me, probably the Launch Control XL3 is one of the more exciting things of SUPERBOOTH this year, although it is such a bog standard MIDI controller, but I think it does things right. It's not too expensive, and yeah, looks good. What can I say? Groove synthesis, wavetable synth. It's nothing I am particularly interested in. I'm not a wavetable freak, so I cannot speak on it if it's good or not. Yeah, so I won't talk on it. Filter bank. Oh yeah, the Moog Messenger. That was, I guess, one of the more exciting things for a lot of people. And yeah, let's click on this. Of course, that was also one of my short leak videos. And what can I say about it? I watched a few videos on it, but as many people have mentioned online, it's just another subtractive synthesizer. Okay, it's got a wave folder in there, but in general, it's just another simple monophonic Moog synthesizer. What is nice about it, it's got patch storage, so unlike the grandmother and the matriarch, you can save your patches. It's pretty much knob per function, unlike some of the smaller ones like the Sub 25 where you got hidden parameters, or the Moog Minotaur or Siren where you got hidden parameters that you can only access via MIDI CC or the plugin controller. So in that regard, I think it's nice that you get a Moog where you can access everything and save your patches for a lower price. That being said, I really do not like the design. I don't know. It just looks too simple and too cheap to me in some way. That shouldn't matter if the sound is right, but I have the opinion that if a device looks nice, it will inspire you to play more, maybe. The price is right, I think. Nothing wrong with that. Below 1,000 for Moog synthesizer is good. I am not in the market for it though. I won't get one for sure because I got a Matriarch recently and I'm very happy with that one. So it wouldn't make sense for me to buy this one. But for someone who wants their first Moog, this is a good option. Doesn't have internal effects, so you'll need something external, unlike with the Grandmother and the Matriarch, where the Grandmother has the spring reverb and the Matriarch has this amazing Bucket Brigade delay. But yeah, let me know in the chat if any one of you is getting the Messenger. Oh yeah, what I think about the Messenger is too, it's gonna be great for live musicians who need the Moog sound, because this is obviously a lot lighter than the other Moog offerings with a keyboard. So let me take a look at the chat. Okay, Jasmine says that the stem export on OPXY, it sounded like that from a Black Field Kid video at SUPERBOOTH. Okay, I gotta have a look at that. Would be interesting. Yes, 1010 Bento, of course. Hello, Rauschlicht. 1010 Bento was one of the bigger releases of SUPERBOOTH for sure. And it could be good. I don't know. Like the design and the touch screen elements don't speak to me directly, although it has 8 endless encoders above the screen, which probably should be below the screen, but that the fact that it has 8 endless encoders, I think, is very good. And yeah, because it will give you more hands-on stuff, but I believe it will still rely on the touch screen quite a lot, which is not for me. So in general, the design is not my thing. They could make it right, I don't know. And of course, one thing that, oh, my OPXY is quitting on me without even doing anything. And one thing that dampened the whole 1010 presentation a little bit is that the device is so unfinished, yet they seem to be already selling it or soon. So many people seem to be complaining about, them releasing unfinished hardware and having the buyers basically be beta testers. I can understand that sentiment, but you should check out what the device does now, and if it does enough things for you, then buy it. If not, wait till they finish it, or if they finish it and then buy it. Ah, Trey, you are talking about the Love FM synth, I believe. That must be that Love FM, the white Game Boy looking one. We'll probably get to that. Hey, Aaron Paris and STFO. Yes, STFO. Absolutely. I agree with you. The Noidside drop is definitely one of the more interesting devices. Let me find that. Let's scroll there. Oh, well, we'll get to that in a second. Yeah, let's check out the Noidside drop. Here it is. So this one, I think, is one of the more interesting releases too. You are absolutely right on this. Especially for live musicians, this is going to be an interesting MIDI controller, mixer, whatever device you want to call it. And in case you don't know what it does, it basically allows you to have MIDI scenes. Think of the Octatrack's slider scenes. So you have different settings for all the knobs and parameters on one side of the slider, and you have different parameters on the other side, and you can seamlessly fade between all these values. And the noise side drop is that on steroids, and it allows you to do it with MIDI data. So you can create all kinds of scenes with different parameters for all your synthesizers that you have connected, and then you can fade between these scenes, and you can set the time it takes to get from one scene to the other, or you can do it instantaneously, or you can queue it up. So let's say after 8 bars, it immediately switches to new parameter values for all your synthesizers. If you want to see a demonstration of that, Cuckoo interviewed the guys from Noidside, and they are showing it very well in the video. Great demonstration, very musical application. And for musicians touring with hardware, this seems to be an amazing device. It is apparently completely editable on the device, because they don't want this to become obsolete in future. So that's a nice sentiment. And yeah, it seems an absolute, although I don't like to use this word, beast of a MIDI controller. So what else did we have here? Yes, the Modal Electronics Carbon 8X, larger version of their synthesizer. The Roland SH4D update, new oscillator models, pattern chain, and effects. Yeah, good that they're updating their units. I personally haven't played with the SH4D. I'm not too much a fan of Roland, I gotta say. Which I wanna ramble a little bit. I hope you don't mind. So I don't know why, but I'm more of a Korg fanboy when it comes to synthesizers, and especially older synthesizers. And I just bought myself the Korg Z or Z1, which is a physical modeling synthesizer from the late 90s, I believe. So it is digital physical modeling tech in an old synthesizer that is multi-timbral. It has, the standard version has 12 voices, and it's pretty impressive. Like, they do physical modeling for brass instruments, reed, electric pianos, and they have all these different types of physical modeling circuits in there. And some of them, I think they actually sound good. Yes, some of them sound dated and a little bit plasticky, but also you can... Wait, let me at least get a picture up of this. This is the Korg Z1. And yeah, some of the engines might not be the best one that you can get for this physical modeling, but they have a lot of parameters that you can tweak and also get into territories that you wouldn't get with many synthesizers these days. And what I want to say is that what disappoints me in today's... Yes, okay, now we got the cliffhanger. What disappoints me about today's synthesizers? It is that, like, it's been going on for so long, new synthesizers, and although technology has advanced so much since this synthesizer, for example, came out, in the late 90s it came out. We didn't even have YouTube back then. So the fact that we are still getting digital synthesizers that aren't multi-timbral or that just do the same thing that we've had in a million other synthesizers is crazy to me. Like, I would imagine that we could make a lot more multi-timbral devices, meaning you can play different synthesizer patches at the same time and have them integrated well. Like the OPXY, for example, is multi-timbral. You can play a few different synthesizers at the same time and it's not breaking down immediately. And theoretically today there should be no, okay, I'm not a programmer, but there should be no reason why there couldn't be more multi-timbral synthesizers. So we don't have to buy a million synthesizers, but instead we have one multi-timbral synthesizer at home that is good, and we can just play many voices on that one synthesizer and sequence it. But instead, there are so many synthesizers being released that are monotimbral or bitimbral, which, I just don't get it. It's insane to me. And there are so many synthesizers in the late 90s, early 2000s that are multi-timbral, that have like 128 voices and whatnot, that sound good at the same time. And I don't see why you can't take the tech from back then, the multi-timbrality, and repackage that maybe with the conveniences of modern devices, like better UI design, for example, and a little better user experience. So old synthesizers were great in all their capabilities. I think the depth of editing was usually very good as well. The multi-timbrality was good, but the user interface of today's devices is better, because I think companies have gained experience in that regard. So combine these two and make new devices. But instead, we've gotten better and better user interfaces, but somehow we lost all the capabilities of these old synthesizers. And that, although our chips are getting much better and so much more powerful. I think rant over. Let me know in the comments or in the chat what you got to say about that. Do you agree, or am I being stupid here? Oh, Trey, you're saving for the Moog Muse. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's one out of my price range. I don't think I'm going to get that one. Chuck Leone, you had the black box, but it suffered from lack of support from 1010 Music. Yeah, that's sadly something I've heard echoed in the forums as well, that they are not too good on the support. I personally don't have experience with that, so I can't speak from that, but I have heard it from many people. Yep, Trey, you're right. It looks like the Triton, or even more specifically, it looks like the Trinity, the range that came before the Triton. The Korg Trinity is also very nice. I've got one of those too. I got a little synth addiction, but I got it very cheap. And yeah, the Korg Z1 and the Trinity were of the same generation, and they've got a little bit rounder side panels. But yeah, it's very similar to the Triton. You're right on that. And I think the Trinity is not nearly as famous as the Korg Triton, because the Triton came out when the big hip-hop producer wave began, where everybody was using the Triton. Average couch enjoyer, you think it's because it's hard to make UX understandable and it's hard to market a flagship do everything box. Yes, I can understand that. Yeah, of course, the more complex a device is, the more difficult it is to quickly explain it to someone. Here you can do this, here you can do that. That's true, absolutely. But I think there still could be ways to make it happen. Like, for example, if you take the newer Electron boxes, so you got polyphony, or you've got wait, let me restart. With the Electron boxes, for example, like the Digitact and Digitone, the thing there is that you got to decide between sampling and synthesis. They could probably easily put them into one device and have that be the one and only you need. Because their interfaces are so similar, so I assume you could easily integrate one and another and make the sampler and synth engine interchangeable as on your source page. And I don't think that would be too difficult or too difficult to understand, basically, for the user in the end, because the structure would still be very similar of each of the tracks. And moreover, when it comes to the Digitact, for example, why can a simple sampler track not be polyphonic and only be monophonic? Like, why is the polyphony restricted to the Digitone and the Digitact cannot do it? So those are these little limitations that are there these days that are absolutely unnecessary. Whereas it seems like back in the days, in the 90s, early 2000s, they really tried to put everything in there and, yeah, just get the most out of the devices. Like the workstations back then, you could still make complete compositions on them. It's just that they weren't as experienced in user interfaces. So, yeah. But again, I do understand if anyone who is making devices like this is watching. I do understand it is very difficult to bring a product to the market and to work on this. So I don't want to poo-poo the work. It is very difficult, but I think sometimes corners are cut in the wrong places, is all I'm saying. Average couch enjoyer wants just weird synths like the metal fetishist. Yeah, I can understand the appeal of these devices. Yeah, now you get to buy two things, absolutely. Klumpmeister, I just got the OPXY from a Moog grandmother and a Mini Freak. How did I do? You mean you traded them? Let me see. What's the pricing? Grandmother Mini Freak. That's probably a good deal, right? Yeah, that's a good deal. If you got the OPXY for those two, I think you saved yourself some money. No, I haven't seen the new sample Groovebox called Mosaic, but I will have a look. Let's see. Ah, yes. I saw that one. Let me get it on screen. There's the Mosaic. I don't know what to say about this grid layout, like the 64-step sequencer. In that layout, to me, would not be my first choice, probably. That's what I gotta say. I don't know if that is the best choice for a sequencer, but they may have a strange implementation that makes it make sense. Yeah, I don't know what it will be like. I cannot speak on it. I will have to see more. The layout looks a little strange to me, that's all I can say. But it's got a big screen. What else do we got? Oh yes, WMD Scorpion, 8 stages wavefolding, UDO, Super 8 voice upgrade. Yes, the Corg Phase 8. Let's check that one out. So, I'm sure many of you have seen this one, and this is a weird one for me. While I really like the idea of exploring this area of making music, because I'm a big fan of electric pianos and kalimbas and sounds that are made with metal tines being somehow excited. In theory, this instrument is very interesting to me. Yeah, I like the sound of tines, and I like them exploring electroacoustic instruments, if that is the right word. So some physical objects that are being manipulated and therefore generate sound. However, the resulting sounds that I have heard so far are not interesting enough to me to warrant buying this. I'm sure you can do something cool with it, but it did seem a little bit bland from the range of sounds that you could get out of it. You only got 8 notes to play, which is a limitation as well. So the instrument, in my opinion, is for a very specific user, very specific use case. And what I'm wondering about is how Korg Berlin is doing this in terms of funding. I mean, Korg is a huge company, but they founded Korg Berlin, and then the first thing they seemingly worked on is this product. And I don't know exactly how long they've been working on it now, but I believe it's at least 3 or 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. And they must have put a lot of money in this product so far, but I don't see that many people buying this, because, to be honest, you know, it's cool, it's interesting, I like them trying this out, but for how many people is this instrument? Who really needs it? And who will make good use of it? That is my question. Yeah, it's a difficult one. I see that this is Tatz's pet project, and I commend Korg giving him the free range on working something like this. But yeah, from an economical standpoint, I find it a bit hard to understand if this makes sense. That being said, if they develop it and use this as a starting point for a range of these instruments, I could see how it could become interesting once they expand this and make it an instrument that doesn't only have 8 notes, but has a wider keyboard, and make this into a full-fledged synthesizer. So that could be interesting. Maybe they take the things they learn from this and make it into something bigger later. Who knows? Just my opinion. Any of you gonna buy this? Oh yes, here we got the bento for anyone who hasn't seen it. This is 1010 Music's new upgraded portable Groovebox. Yeah. So again, I'm sure many people will like it. Many people liked the black box, and yeah, it had quite a lot of functionality. You got clip launching, you got sampling, you got granular. I don't know what else is gonna come. You've got pressure sensitive pads, big touchscreen encoders. One thing, like, I like to, stay real with my opinions. One thing that immediately stood out negatively was the battery life is rated at 3 hours, which I find a little bit low for a device that's touted as being a portable powerhouse, because if after 2 hours you got to worry that your battery is running out because you got a 3-hour battery life and maybe it wasn't charged completely or something, that's to me a little annoying, because sometimes I like to have longer sessions than that, and that seems a little bit short. I would say something like 5 hours would be more acceptable for sure. But 3 hours does seem short to me, although in an interview the owner of 1010 said they are working on increasing battery performance, but who knows. Yes, this one is interesting. The Polyand Mess multi-effect step sequencer. This is something I hope to be able to test at some point. I think this is a very interesting product. Guitar effect or synthesizer effect pedal, whatever you want to use it for. But you can basically parameter lock your effects. You have 4 effects that you can assign. So you could have a granular effect here, chorus here, a sampler, and something else on this one. And then you can parameter lock all of the effects parameters on a per step basis. So very similar to Electron devices, but just for effects, which is actually something a lot of people, a lot of Electron fans have been hoping for a while, is a mixer that you can parameter lock. So Polyand has made something like this now, and I think it's a very good idea, and I hope it works as well as it seems to. Yeah, I think I'm going to test that one at some point. Yup. Many things. Ableton Move gets an update. That's nice. I'm glad they're working on it. There's potential in Move. Today is a lot of yapping. I hope you folks are not disappointed. But it's just a spontaneous one. Be jamming since birth. Hello. Ferras. Their touchscreen UX can be better, to be honest. Okay, yeah. Ferras, the Mess multi-effects can be used for guitar or synthesizer, I'm pretty sure. Yep, I see. You guys are not sold on the bento yet either. Linda's son also in the house. Nice to see you. So the Ableton Move, I tested so far shortly. I think it's got a lot of cool capabilities, but the one thing I don't like is that the jog wheel needs to be used too much. I rather would press buttons than use a jog wheel. And one thing that trips me up about the Ableton Move is the parameter assignments on the 8 knobs, that they always depend on how the preset is made. So you assign macros in Ableton Live to certain parameters, and these are then the 8 knobs you see on Move. And that means that your knobs and parameters are a little bit all over the place. Like, for example, on a lot of the synthesizer patches, the filter frequency is on the first page of parameters, whereas on the sampler engines, you gotta turn the jog wheel and go to the second parameter page in order to access the filter. So I find it a little bit hard to memorize what's where, and that there is not enough uniformity in it. That's something I like, for example, about Electron devices. Each of the tracks functions very similar. If I want to go to the filter, I click the filter button and there it is. Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like about the Move so far. But in general, it's pretty powerful, and the capture function is just amazing. I mean, that is just so good. Yeah, Erica synths. And Hex Inverter. This drum machine sounded very nice. The demos were good. It's a drum machine. A modern drum machine, you know, why buy an 808 or 909 if you can have something modern built? I like Erica synths. I think they do very good stuff. They seem to be very nice people. So I got nothing bad to say. And yeah, it looks like a solid drum machine. Knob per function and modern sequencer. It's got everything you need in a performance-friendly drum machine, basically. And it's more angled toward the classical tones, I assume, like 808 or 909. So if you are going Erica synths in terms of drum machine, you get the choice between this one and the Percons, which will be more experimental and more harsher tones, I assume. But I can see how many people will like this. Pretty sure this is going to be successful. Yep. And let's see. Yeah, this one, this is a bit of a head scratcher. The PPG synthesizer. I am not a synthesizer nerd, so I cannot give you the backstory on this one. PPG seems to be a big thing from the past. They have reissued it with support of the original owner, but it costs 9,999 euro, which I don't know who's gonna buy that. And what is it? Is it monophonic or duophonic? I'm not sure, but I don't think it's a proper polyphonic synthesizer. So this, yeah, I have absolutely no idea who the target audience of this synthesizer is, to be honest. It's certainly not me. We've got so many synthesizers, and yeah, I don't know if the sound is so special that it warrants this price. If it does, that must be some real good sound. That's all I can say. But anyway, best of luck to you guys. Don't wish anyone any bad. If they find their audience, I'm happy for them. Supercritical Redshift. That's a multi-timbral synth. See, some companies are doing it. Good on you. Haven't had a chance to test it out, but yeah, doesn't look too bad. What's the price? Yeah, 1,250 euro. How many voices polyphonic? How many timbres? 6 one-voice parts. See, so that is not a lot. 6 different synthesizer patches at once, but each with just one single voice. If you compare that with the Z1 that I have, I don't even have the expanded version, so just the base version. But even this one has 6 timbres, 6 parts at the same time, but has 2 voices for each part. And that is physical modeling tech from the late 90s. So even this has twice the voice count while maintaining the same amount of parts. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. But then probably back in the day, the Z1 also cost a fortune. Yeah. Oh yes. This was one of the early announcements of SUPERBOOTH. The Frap Tools Magnolia. What I like here is I think this has wave folders in it, and it seems that companies are at least realizing if they are releasing an analog synthesizer, hey, why not throw a wave folder in there? Because we have so many standard VCO into VCF synthesizers by now. A wave folder is an easy way you can spice up the timbres and make them sound more varied and interesting. So I commend them on doing that. I think the design layout is interesting. It looks very clean. It seems to be a quite big synthesizer. It's got through 0 FM. And yeah, of course, this is a flagship synthesizer that is going to be a little more pricey, I assume. I don't see the price here, though. So yeah, it's cool to see more Eurorack manufacturers entering the normal synth market, so to speak, and I think that makes a lot of sense for an established Eurorack maker to do so, because I think the normal synth market is much larger than the Eurorack market, and once you have gained some experience and have a name through Eurorack, it's also much easier to release a full-sized or desktop synthesizer. So my prediction is that we will see more Eurorack companies coming out with other synthesizers. That is my bold claim right here. All right. Yeah, Trey, tell them to send me a push 3 as well. I wouldn't mind one of those either. Yeah, exactly. I think push 3 standalone would be really interesting. What I like about the push 3 standalone is that I believe you have auto-tune in there. And yeah, I like live auto-tune in a device. That would be very nice because I can't sing. What else is going on in the chat? The Move was actually an introduction into Ableton, and after a couple weeks I upgraded to push 3, sold the Move and my Live 2 XSE and never looked back. Oh, nice. Well, I'm glad to hear the push 3 is working for you. At some point I gotta try the standalone as well, I think. Everybody's being gassed up here. Yeah, we all know it. We all know it. We all have enough gear, but we're all gassing. Ah, okay. Trey, that's what you were talking about, the Magnolia. Yeah, so that's SUPERBOOTH over again. Yeah, I'm not gassing for anything that was released there today. Trey, I've seen an auto-tune pedal. Yeah, there's one the TC Helicon ones that are quite old, and I had a Corg one once, and I even bought it new, which I don't often do with devices, and it immediately broke. So that was my short-lived experience with that auto-tune pedal, and I didn't buy it again or get a new one because I thought if it breaks this quickly, I'm not going to spend my money on it. But maybe one day. Linda Sun, yeah, I can understand holding on to the KO2 and SP44. They are just very useful and quick samplers. So, yeah, it's nice to have a device that's also simple, because the Push 3, you know, is a more serious thing and also heavier. So if you got some smaller devices, sometimes it's just nice to sit down and feel less involved and just quickly jot down some ideas. STFO, yes, as an XY owner, the gas should be a little under control. You are absolutely right. Average couch enjoyer, you are asking what this sample is from. This sample is from the Korg Triton VST. Is a classic. I just, to test out the multi-sampler, I converted myself a few of the pads. All right, let's start a completely new project. So I'm done with the SUPERBOOTH yappery, but you can keep it going in the chat. I'll chime in now and again. Let's load up some drums. If the OPXY had a capture function like the Move, that would be absolutely insane. Copy this track over here so I can keep my shakers and my kicks and snares separate. Test, test. Let's just put a lower velocity one here. Probably need to turn this up a little, yeah. Let's look for a different snare. not into it right now. Not this. There we go with something like this. No, this. By the way, how do you guys start your chord progressions? Do you just go, like, you fumble your way around the keys and you hear one chord that you like and just start with that and then go from there? Because that's how I do it. I just look for one thing that sounds right and then build on that. Klumpmeister asks, how do you pair the OPXY with a Moog Grandmother or Mini Freak? I would just go MIDI out from here into whichever device and then probably send the audio from the synthesizer back into the OPXY and then play it from one of the tracks as a MIDI track. STFO says, good question. Sometimes I use the chord page on my Launchpad Pro Mark III. Yeah. If there was an easier chord mode here, I would probably use that too. Use Scalar 3 B-Jam since birth. Yeah, I guess that's an option if you're in the box. Oh, Hide F84. I gave my thoughts on the 1010 music. Bento, you can rewatch it later. In short, it's unfinished. I have no personal opinion of 1010, but the voices on the internet speak of not too good developments. But again, I have no clue. Judge for yourself. By the way, I really appreciate seeing so many familiar faces here. Very nice. Always appreciate your support. STFO is asking if you can glitch around on the OPXY. I didn't dive too deep into the parameter locks here, but I think the parameter locks are not implemented as well as on the Electrons. But you got the tape track with which you can do some glitching. What the tape track is doing is it is just sampling 16 steps at a time, and you've got that then in the buffer here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 16 steps up until here. Like if I press this one, you can see it just plays the last slice there, and if I press this one, it will play the first one. And so on here, it will play the one in the middle. So it's automatically put in the buffer, but like that sample in there isn't saved, so it will refresh with every repeat. But at least you can, yeah. And speed it up. Or also do a halftime. And so on and so forth. So that's the kind of thing you can do with that. Let's turn it off for now. Be jamming since birth. See you soon. Thanks for stopping by. Yes, I like this. We're gonna record that. But I like the first half. Thank you, JN, and thank you for joining the stream. Let's just test a few presets. Okay, here at the end we got. Yeah, we just gotta walk it back down. Maybe a little flourish at the end, if you could call it that. We'll see if that stays in. Just a jam anyway. Getting hung up and searching through presets. Somehow I like the aggressiveness of this one. I hate it when I get hung up in presets. With this one now. Or not. Damn it. Yep, there we got it. Where do I know this melody from? It's similar to something. My brain is off for a second. Yeah, yeah. Mit einer Line mach ich Plus aus dem Minus. Ja, ich mach Welle mit den Lines so wie Sinus. Wortgefecht nenn mich Guy, Brush Streetwood. Ich schreib mit Stylus und dir nur stillos. Bitte nur die Wahrheit, als wär ich auf Vino, Merlot, Chardonnay oder auch einen Pinot. Ich bin abgetaucht und verschwunden wie Nemo. Bastel am Sound, lass ihn pumpen wie Primo. Pass nicht ins Bild, ganz großes Kino. Gegner gekillt, so als wären es die Dinos. Nicht die Mama, doch der Papa für die kleinen Bambinos. Kann kein Japanisch, doch ich Guy und du Inu. Mann, ich bin fly wie ne V2. Zerficke Beats, bis sie alle schreien Me Too. Mit Schießbudenfiguren auf Kriegsfuß. Wenn du Beef suchst, Junge, komm her, ich hab nie Kuh. Ich hab nie Kuh, Junge. Tja. Ja, ja. Check das. Deutsche Rapper tragen Make-up, lesen GQ. Von ihrem Sound krieg ich Ausschlag wie you. Fake Bitches am Mic, ich nenn sie Miku. Doch ihre Tage sind gezählt und jetzt fließt Blut. Ich stepp ans Mic mit der Schießkunst Eastwoods. Denn das ist mein Haus, Junge, und kein Niesnutz. Mann, ich hab Druck wie ein gottverdammter G-Suit und bring die Bomben aus dem Nichts wie ein B2. Denn Label investiert, wartet auf den Recoup. Mein Leben investiert, denn ich hab kein Redo. In meinem Lied gut, ja, jedes Lied gut. Jeder Verse tight und jeder Beat boomt. Ich bin in meinem Element so wie Lilu. Wie ein Inuit in nem Iglu. Wie ein Ski-Doo im Skigebiet. Wie Triton und Bleed Blue. Weil ich was ich lieb tu, Bitch. Sorry, yapping time is over.
You me
So let's see how we can build this up. Yeah. Okay, let's just try this out. By the way, just did a really rudimentary arrangement. Let's see. Just for fun. Let's go back here and see. Maybe let's go copy paste this one and yeah, let's try something like that. Let's play it from here. Wait, can I do that? Doesn't matter. All right. So, I think, although this is by far not finished, I think I am. Just wanted to do a stream to get back into the routine of things. Yeah. Is there still anyone in here? Who knows? I may check that out. Yeah, so for the next weeks, got a few tutorials planned already. 2 are recorded. I usually am not very ahead when it comes to my streams or to my videos, but at least I've got 2 more done for the next weeks, an OPXY tutorial and a special Octatrack tutorial that is dear to my heart. And yeah, so that's what's going on. Otherwise, as I said, lots of live stuff going on. So right now I'm usually not doing more than 1 video or 1 stream a week. Many things at once, but also good things. Nevertheless, much to do, and therefore a little bit of stress. I like to make a bit of stress for myself. That's how us Germans are. But something that is exciting that I'm working on, I am thinking of making an Airbnb here in Japan by the coast, a beautiful surf spot. So if any of you are interested in coming to Japan later this year, probably start around, I don't know, August, September, feel free to contact me, sunwoomusic@gmail.com for now. I'm sure I'll post it properly on Airbnb at some point too. But yeah, if you're thinking of coming to Japan and want to have a vacation on a nice, relaxed coast, hit me up. So that's one project I'm working on. There are other secret projects I cannot mention yet, but you will hear about soon for sure. And hey, Raul, I don't think I'm gonna grab the 1010 music bento. No, the interface doesn't speak to me straight away. I mean, it can be cool, you know, I'm willing to be convinced otherwise, but I have so many devices and I'm overloaded with gear at the moment. And for that, it's not tickling my fancy enough. Yeah, secret projects for sure. Jamie Rice, hello. Yeah, secret project, maybe not too exciting, but we'll see what comes out of it. But everything takes a long time, and I'm impatient. So but yeah, that's what's happening. Otherwise, I feel like I blinked, and already it's summer again. Although we still got some snow here in the mountains, it's pretty crazy. Like we had 22, 24 degrees Celsius, but at the same time you still can see little patches of snow hiding in places. But that's the mountains, I guess. But then if I drive an hour from here, I'm by the seaside, and that's more my terrain. Yeah, but what I love here in Japan where I live, I don't talk too much personal stuff usually, and this is not personal, I guess. But as I said before, I think we only got 10 people living here in the village, including us. So it is super secluded and nice nature, and I get to see lovely animals pretty often. Saw a mink earlier this year, Japanese mink. They're called mink, yeah? Yeah, like the mink coat. No, sorry, not a mink, a sable, and they are absolutely beautiful, like nice orange golden fur. I'm seeing foxes. I have seen bears here in the mountains before, but only once in the almost 10 years that I've been here. A black bear mom, I guess, with her kids. That was pretty cool. My wife has seen them twice. And they were right next to our village as well, so we're lucky we haven't been attacked or anything yet. They do kill a few humans in Japan every year, and I think last year the rate was pretty high compared. And that happens because these rural regions, like where we are living, they lose more and more people, and less people are working the fields and maintaining the borders of the landscape, so to speak. So that's why the bears are more brave and come closer to the villages. And when they see a little granny in the fields and get startled, they can attack them. And since the grannies here are pretty small, that can easily go wrong. Just a little bit of Japan info right now. Freezich. You hoped you wouldn't like the OPXY and could return it. That's a nice one. Oh, I'm just gonna buy this and hope I don't like it. Sweet. Well, but if you found something that you enjoy about it, then I guess it's a good tool for you. And I mean, this can replace quite a lot of gear if you want it to replace a lot of gear. And the format is amazing. That's what I like about the format. Is really nice, like the size and the weight and battery. I like it too. Yeah, but so I haven't been making too much music because of stuff, but I hope I'll get more to it, and that's why I wanted to do a quick stream at least with a little bit of jamming. So I do something for today. I see you're an Electron Erica since guy, so yeah, I understand. I think a lot of us sink too much money into this, but there are worse things to spend your money on, that is for sure. At least a lot of this stuff can be resold, and if you're someone who buys used a lot, then you don't lose too much money, and if you look around a little bit, you can even make money. I mean, it's not a real hustle, but with some things you can do real resale business, which also has changed. In the beginning, when I went to Japan 10 years ago, I used to flip some samplers overseas, and yeah, could have a little bit of income of it. It wasn't much by any means, but the channels with which you could buy from Japan were more limited than they are now. I think now there are a lot more websites that let you buy things of Japanese auctions or Japanese Mercari than they used to be. So I took advantage of that a little bit when it was possible. But the good thing is, in Japan, there's still a lot of deals to be had. So without the shipping internationally, sometimes I can get very lucky with the synthesizers that I buy, like the Corg Z1. I think I paid about, what was it, $300 for it or something, which I think for a physical modeling synth of that order is pretty nice. Yeah, Raul. You mean Hard Off? Funny name, but that is the shop. Hard Off is the second-hand store here, and they have gotten worse too. Like when I first came here, they had some absolutely insane deals because the shopping from overseas didn't exist as much, and so they didn't quite realize what they had sometimes. I once bought an Akai X7000, which is a 12-bit sampler keyboard. And I bought that for, I'm not kidding you, for around $3 US. At first, it cost $6, and I went to the counter with it, and I asked if this or that is wrong with it, and they said, we don't know. And they put it back in half the price again when they put it back, so I thought, okay, I guess I gotta buy this now. Hey, René, ungodly time for Germans. Yeah, I know, but this just suits me better. I'm not too good working in the evenings, which I would have to do if I did a German stream, so I apologize. The stream is almost over, by the way, but we can yap a little bit. Yeah, so they don't sell directly to overseas, but there are shops that like are an intermediary between you buying from the US and the Japanese sellers. So I think Buy, so Buy double E, is one of those that offer shopping from overseas. But I assume that once their fees are put on top of that and shipping, the deals might not be as sweet as they could be. Yeah. But sometimes, and that's the thing with these used gear things. Like sometimes things go trending online, and then everybody wants this old sampler or that old sampler, and then 2 years later nobody's interested. I think it's the same thing with the Zoom sample track, for example. A lot of people were getting onto the sample track a few years ago, and yeah, it garnered attention because it sounds like an SP12. But I think the interest has also faded over time, and there are just so many options these days. So it's difficult for one of these things really to hold its value that much. Yeah. Bit of water. Yeah. René, in case you didn't hear it, if you want to make holiday in Japan, I'm thinking about an Airbnb soon by the sea. So hit me up if you know anyone who wants to travel here. The OPXY updates. So it's good that updates are coming and they have fixed some stuff, but I still feel it's unpolished, definitely. Compared to the OPXY, the OP1 field feels very clean, like it does the things it's supposed to do. Yes, it has a lot less functionality maybe, but it just feels like a finished product, whereas the OPXY doesn't feel yet. Like earlier in the stream, I just had the OPXY, I turned it on and left it running, and after a few minutes, it just crashed. I didn't even do anything, so the OPXY isn't there yet for sure, and I hope they keep improving. I really hope they implement a drum sampler in it. That would be pretty insane. And I also think the parameter locking is just not there compared to other devices. Like, you know, like normally the parameter should stay here. I have a feeling that worked better before, but now it just defaults to this value. And yeah, the parameter locking is not on electron level, and I think the visual feedback that you get on this device is lacking a little bit. One reason for that is that they just went with white and red LEDs instead of colorful ones, and yeah, also like the parameter pages don't light up. I don't get feedback what's locked and what's exactly happening, and yeah. Oh, sorry, did I say drum sampler? I mean drum synthesizer. I meant I hope they implement a drum synthesizer. That's what I would like. They have a drum sampler, yeah, but a synth would be cool, like in the Pocket Operator 32, is it the Tonic? Yeah, so overall it's a cool device, but it just isn't finished, I think. And I don't think they have many people working on it, as far as I've heard. I don't have inside info, but that's what I think. They don't have too many people working on it, so it's a slower process. But I hope they'll get there, and I assume they will have to work on this for a while now. And no, I don't think they will add audio tracks to this in some way. I just don't see how it would be implemented in the interface here. And also, they, you know, Teenage Engineering will want you to buy the TP7 or the OP1 for audio tracks, I'm sure. If this also had audio tracks, that would be quite the overlap with the OP1, and therefore almost make the OP1 obsolete. Yes, I know. I would like some audio tracks as well, but the only workaround is now sampling into the drum sampler. You got 20 seconds for each slice, and then you would have to line them up. That definitely is not the same as being able to record into an audio track, but it is what it is. Yeah, so much gear. No one piece of gear is perfect. But something I recognized recently is that the Octatrack is one thing I always get back to somehow. Like, it took me a few buys and resells of the Octatrack to realize it, but that thing can just do so many different tasks and fulfill so many different roles that I gotta say the Octatrack is amazing, but it also is not perfect, and it also is frustrating like every other piece of gear. And I really hope they do an Octatrack Mark III where they change just a few things, but that could be, for me, almost the perfect device. Yeah, that's and I think with that being said, I am probably going to close this down here because we are at the 2-hour mark, and this much talking, I'm not doing this much talking all week, so I will likely, hopefully, if everything goes well, own an Airbnb. It's by the coast of Niigata, Ken. Niigata, new word, Ken, like Ken and Barbie. Niigata Prefecture, directly by the seaside, and I mean, you got direct sea view, and you walk a minute down to the beach. And it's going to be a very small place, like a small hut. You could stay alone or with your partner or something like that. So one large room with kitchenette, shower, bathroom, and that's it. And yeah, let me know. sunwoomusic@gmail.com for now, but it'll also be posted somewhere else once it's all ready. Okay. Freeze Edge, yes. OPXY into Octatrack, I can see that would make a good combo. I'll try that out probably soon too, because then you can trigger the Octatrack slots as well and some other stuff, so that's going to be interesting. Awesome. Thank you everyone for visiting, and I appreciate your support as always. I hope you have a wonderful day, or René, you have a wonderful night and that you can sleep. And yeah, I hope to see you all soon. Next video gonna be out next Wednesday or Friday. There's no speaking Japanese with me. All right, see you everybody, and have a good one. Bye bye.